Hey, BookTube. What's the happenings? Been a long day, but you know what? If you're gonna BookTube it, you gotta suck it up and get things done. So this is my July wrap-up and August TBR. Now what I do is I'll rehearse some of this stuff in my head, and then when I start filming, all that goes away. So yeah, if you have that problem, let me know. We'll talk about it. Alright, enough shenanigans. Okay, let's go with, let's see here, the first book I read, The Golden Compass, Philip Pullman. Now, I read this because Dane Cobain, aka Dane Reads, kept pushing it, and he read Midworld, so I was like, alright dude, I'll check out Philip Pullman. And turned out I really liked it. Let me look at my notes. There's a very clever 11-year-old named Lyra, its main character. It's like fantasy or alternate history. I'm gonna go with fantasy on that. And anyway, she's precocious, and she's pretty quick on the uptake for somebody so young. And they go north to free some kids, and you know I don't do spoilers, but I can tell you that when I started reading this, Dane's like, hey, say hi to Ioric Bernison. And I had no idea who that was until later on. I found it was one of the armored bears who was going to be like the king of the bears. And he got cast out, and anyway, he joins the team that travels north, and that I'm not going to ruin it, but it was a pretty darn good rollicking adventure. There was a little bit of biblical augmentation at the end, but whatever, you know, I'm cool with that. That happens a lot in literature. But I gave this 4.5 stars and really liked it. I say that a lot because if I really like a book, I have a tendency to say, hey, I really like this book. So that's what I thought about that. 4.5 stars. So thanks for the recommendation, Dane. Then I read, if I can keep this straight, I did Children of Dune, and I did a buddy read with Elena Makridina, or Elena Makridina. And this one has, you know, it's in the Dune series, so, but in this one, the two children, Ghanima and Leto are going to inherit the, well, they're Paul's children, so basically there's the power struggle as always, and there's some terraforming going on Dune, which is kind of weird. Well, on the planet Arrakis. It wasn't too bad. I gave it 3.5 stars. I had a few problems with certain things, and I think Oly Bliss made a comment. He's like, oh, you don't have a problem with them communicating with their ancestors, but you have a problem with somebody making a field expedient blowgun and killing someone on their first try. And I'm like, yeah, I did. That's how I roll. Because, you know, weapons that are fired instinctively, like a blowgun, a boomerang, a recurve bow, or anything without sights, it takes a little practice. So, you know, I could have complained about a few other things, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. You know, 3.5 stars, and there's probably a better Dune book, but heck, if you're into Dune, go for it. And thanks, Elena, for the buddy read. Appreciate that. Then I read Night Shift by Stephen King. I did this as a buddy read with BookishMel, and I haven't seen her review of this. But she asked me some of my favorites, and I'll tell you all some of my favorites. Gray Matter, which, let me take a sip of this beer and tell you the premise. This guy likes to drink beer. His kid goes and buys him this off-brand, or he has his beer delivered. Apparently there was a pinhole in the can, some type of weird bacteria gets in there, and it changes the guy into a very strange, well, once again, I don't do spoilers, but pretty good one. Battleground was cool. The Ledge, Quitter's Inc. If you're trying to quit smoking, boy, this would be a hard road to hoe. And The Last Rung on the Ladder. There's some other good stuff in there. And actually, you know, Night Shift was made into a movie. And The Lawnmower Man, which the movie really kind of got away from this short story. But anyway, I think I gave this 4 stars. I didn't jot it down in my notes, but it's Stephen King. Stephen King prior to getting sober, 4 stars. Alright, then let's get to River Girl by Linda Jo Martin. This was part of Todd and Dane's Indie Read Along. Very enjoyable book. Takes place in a rural setting, which is right up my alley because I live in the middle of nowhere. A character named Claire, certain things happen. They inherit some land. They have to move. Tragedy strikes on the way there. They get there and discover that things aren't what they appear, and she tries to you know, make friends in a new place, and she has some issues with her stepfather, but all the stuff that Linda Jo Martin described in this book, it really, like I said, it struck a chord with me because, you know, this is the way people used to live. There weren't doctors close by, there weren't stores close by. You had to kind of provide for yourselves, and we hang on to that tradition out here where I live. So, like I said, this character really resonated with me, and I gave this 4.5 stars. Pretty cool. I have a separate review of that. So, nice work there, Linda. That's Linda, the book lady. Then I read Mr. Majestic by Elmore Leonard, and this is because Lucy from BookAxe was talking about the dialogue in Elmore Leonard books, and I was familiar with him, but oddly enough I'd never read any Elmore Leonard. You know, Justified was a series I really liked because it fictionally took place in Harlan County, which is a few counties over this way towards the south. And Raylan Givens is an awesome character. So this had to do with Mr. Majestic, and I watched the movie when I was a kid with Charles Bronson, and I can't believe I took this long to read any Elmore Leonard. So I gave this 4 stars. It was an easy, a lot of action, and basically what I liked about Majestic was he was a guy minding his own business. Somebody messes with him, guess what's going to happen? You know, it didn't matter who it was, he wasn't going to take any crap. And once again, I can identify with that. So 4 stars for Mr. Majestic by Elmore Leonard. Recommended reading. Then I had Planet of Judgment, and I received this book in the mail from Mark over Richardson Reads. Thanks again, Mark. And I love Star Trek. Been a Star Trek fan since I was a kid, And in this one, they run into a created world. Basically, some beings of higher intelligence that want to, like, pretty much experiment on it. So they dick around with them and basically make them relive some things. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away. That's not all of it. I mean, you get to relive Kirk and Spock's fight, McCoy's divorce and separation, and you know, they play games with some of the main characters on the crew. And 4-star read because, like I said before, Star Trek novels always just like going home or hanging out in the old neighborhood or something. So, cool read. That's Planet of Judgment by Joe Haldeman. Now let's get to my August TBR. Hopefully nothing will fall. Cheers everyone, if you're still here. Thanks. So, ended with Star Trek novel. I'm going to start this one with one. The Abode of Life by Lee Corroy. Again, thank you, Mark. It's a gift from Mark, and I aim to read every one of them. Then I have The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now, this is one of the classics that I've dodged, but I came to read this in a roundabout way because Stephanie over at Lattes and Mockingjays, she recommended Lana Del Rey. Well, Lana Del Rey sings a song called Young and Beautiful, which is, at the time, right now, one of my favorite songs, that Tupac's Revolution. I know, strange, you know, mix there, but it's apparently in the movie, so I'm going to give this a read. I think I might enjoy it, so yeah. Gonna read this because of a song by Lana Del Rey, or a recommendation by Stephanie over there at Lattes and Mockingjays. That's how my mind works. Okay, let me get all this straight. And next is James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time. And I've seen James Baldwin, his books on Comfycozyup, PETA, and Denise Cooper, Arts Books Live, and I wanted to give it a try. I've already peeked at this, and I really like James Baldwin's writing style, so I'm looking forward to that book. Then I have Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, and I saw this particular author on Felicia's channel, and her channel is WhattheGemini, and she was raving about another one of Octavia Butler's novels, and I thought I'd give this. I kind of like the premise of this, so I'm looking forward to that. And there's a blurb on the front by Harlan Ellison, who, as anyone knows that's watched my channel for long, knows one of my favorite authors. So thank you, Felicia, for this recommendation. And next I have, I know, Carrot's not the right head. The Lie Tree by Frances Harding. And Frances Harding came highly recommended by Kara, and she read Midworld, so if somebody reads Midworld, I will give your recommendations a try. So I'm looking forward to checking out The Lie Tree. Now the head's got to come off. And last but certainly not least is a friend of mine, Marc Nash. This is A, B, and E. And this I'm going to read for Todd and Dane's Indie Read Along. So, Mark, looking forward to the journey, buddy. So that's it. That is my wrap up and TBR. Thank you so much for not having anything better to do than listen to me stand in this junk room and freaking talk about books. It is much appreciated, though. Bye.